All right, kids, you made it. Final episode, number 5 in our 7th segment regarding real estate timelines. This is a really fun one. This is definitely your realtor's job. If you have a real estate professional, we are going to nag you to do this stuff probably in advance and monitor the closing, when the closing happens, and adjust these dates and times with all of these folks on your behalf, or at least prompt you over and over again to do it. But I can't tell you how many times this gets missed by sellers who don't have real estate professionals, and this is post-closing considerations. You did it. You sold your house for the most money. You are extraordinarily happy with the amount of dollars you earned for the sale of your property. Don't let those dollars back out of your pocket by missing these timelines, these post-closing considerations. They may seem obvious, but they are not. And nobody is doing this job for you. None of this stuff happens automatically. It's up to you to make sure that you're doing this stuff and not getting extra bills after you've already sold your home. So obvious transfer of utilities. You are leaving that residence, you're leaving that property. You no longer want to pay for the utilities that are servicing that property, whatever they are. Fuel, water, any sort of utility coming to that home. You can call the utilities ahead of time, tell them that you're going to be closing on such and such a date, and please close my account on that date. However, you need to also be diligent. If you've called the utility providers 2 weeks ahead of your closing and told them that April 28th is the day of your closing, you don't want utility service after that date, that somebody, the new buyer, is going to be calling you to change the account into their name. If the closing doesn't happen on that date and is for some reason delayed by a week or two, and the utility company doesn't hear from the new buyer, and a period of time elapses between when you told them you're no longer paying for the service and when the new buyer is going to assume, one of two things is going to happen. Either they're going to continue to bill you, which is hopeful, or B, they're going to cancel and shut off those utilities. Now, what happens if the buyer walks in for the final walkthrough 2 weeks after you told the electric provider that you were closing on the house and there's no electricity in the house? Now they're looking at how long does it take to get the utility provider back out to their residence, rehang the meter if they've removed it, hopefully not, and get power restored to this residence so that they can have electricity when they move into the place that they're paying an arm and a leg for. Don't mess this up. Make sure you're monitoring your timelines and you're communicating with your utility providers. Same thing with updating your address with literally everybody. Certainly the post office. You want to get a mail forward that is taking place on the date of your closing, and certainly getting all of that sensitive information that's going to be continuing to arrive to that home forwarded to your address, unless you've, by some miracle, literally contacted anybody that's ever known your name and your address and told them that you're moving. Make sure you set up a mail forward. Same thing with your bank. Obviously, if you've got multiple accounts with the same bank that maybe had your mortgage, they're going to know, but most of the time your accounts aren't necessarily with the bank that you had your mortgage with, and you got to let them know. Same thing with Amazon and any kind of other recurring subscription service where you have pet food or who the heck knows what other household item that's being delivered to your home. Don't get hammered with extra fees for stuff that's been returned, or the buyer's calling you to get stuff out of the property that you didn't know was showing up. Make sure you're taking care of this ahead of time. Cancel your homeowner's insurance as of the date of closing. Again, make sure if your closing gets pushed out that you still have insurance. If something goes wrong in there and you don't have insurance, my Lord, is that going to create a hairy snowball of problems you don't want. You may even get a refund check because you've paid your insurance premium in advance typically. And if you cancel it by a certain date, they're going to refund you the amount that is for the days that you weren't in occupancy of the residence. Cancel your service providers. There are many, but think about like lawn care and pest care. Anybody that you have a recurring, and a lot of times it's not necessary for you to be present for them to do their job. People forget about this constantly. They show up. They don't know that the house has been sold. They cut the lawn. They do pest treatment. They're billing you for it, and you've got to pay for it. The buyer's not doing that. And, of course, remember your post-closing documentation. You should have copies of literally every shred of paper that ever changed hands, or emails or anything, certainly at the closing, for your future records. And I highly, highly encourage you to get digital backups of these made. either by yourself, your attorney, or whomever. Obviously, this would be a real estate professional's job, but we know you don't need no stinking realtor or you wouldn't be here watching these videos. Speaking of that, we hope you've loved everything you've watched so far. We hope you've given the like and the subscribe, the share. You've asked questions, you've made comments, you've done everything you need to do to get information from service professionals after watching these videos. If you've done all of those things and if you've followed all of our prescriptions to the T, we hope that you'll give us the benefit of those thumbs up, likes, help us out in making future videos and content for you. But we've got segment number 8 coming your way hot off the presses soon. I'll see you there. Peace out.